Hey guys, what's going on? So I was in conversation with my downline today, and they were just unhappy with their progress, right? They weren't profiting the way they felt they should be for how much time and how much effort and how many people they had in their organization, right? And I started to talk to them about width, and I couldn't believe, it was my own failure. I couldn't believe that I hadn't already told them about width and what it is and how to develop it, right? I hadn't emphasized it enough for them to value it as highly as they should have, okay? So width is basically how many people you personally sponsor, okay? So depth is the other part of the business, right? That's when you have people downline of you. And so you got one person up here, and then you personally sponsor this guy, and you just keep building down. That's depth. Width is when you're up here and you build, and you personally sponsor like 5 or 4 different people, right? That's building width, okay? So width makes you more profitable because it multiplies the time duplication process. So if you've got 5 people copying you, it's going to be far more productive than one person copying you, and their downlines copying them. So it just becomes like a distorted image. It's like Chinese whispers, right? And so yeah, width makes the duplication process far more profitable, more effective, and it makes you more profitable as an organization, right? So if you have a big organization like my downline, but if you have no width, you won't have profitability basically, okay? And when you don't have width, if you don't personally build your own width, if you don't have width, then your downlines are going to be put off, right? Because they're going to see how much effort you're putting in. They're going to be seeing how much you're actually getting back out, which isn't going to be much because you don't have any width, so you don't have any profitability, right? So they're going to be put off by that, and they're going to second guess their decision to follow you. So having width isn't just important for your organization, it's important for all of your downlines organization as well. Does that make sense? So basically when you're building width, you want to build it in threes, right? So and when you're building it in threes, you want to put your time into the most committed and the leg that's doing the most, right? And this might sound counterintuitive. You might want to, your first instinct might be to help the people that need the most help. But in reality, you've given every leg the same opportunity to grow, right? So one leg is doing far better with that opportunity. So it's logical that they would do far better with greater opportunity as well, right? So if I put, let's say 10 amount of effort into every leg, and the best leg gets 20 back, right? Why would I help the worst leg that's only got 5 when I'm going to be putting in 100 effort and they're probably only going to give me like 50? Whereas if I put it into the leg that gave me 20 out of 10, they're going to give me like 500, right? So you want to keep 2 on the burner, and you want to work, you don't want to ignore the other 2, and you want to be there for them, but you're putting most of your time into the best leg, right? So the reason we build in threes is because we don't want to put eggs in a few baskets, okay? We want to spread it out. We want to hedge our bets, right? Because on average, it can take about 2 years to break a direct, right? And you don't want to look back after 2 years and regret that you didn't have more people handy, right? Because we have a tendency to kind of hang on. We hang on to the 1 or 2 that we got because it feels safe, right? We're just like, oh, we got our safe. It's like when you go out to like the club. If you're a shy person, you're going to attach yourself to the 1 or 2 people you know. If you don't know anyone, you're going to talk to them, talk to some stranger, and then you're probably going to try and attach yourself to them all night, which is not a good idea because they get sick of you pretty quick. But pretty much we do the same thing in the business, right? So we get our first 2 sponsors and we just kind of hang on to them. We're just like, yes, precious, you know? But that's not the correct thing to do. So you want to have at least 3 at a time, and then once you break a direct, once they're like up and running by themselves and kind of sustainably growing, then you get another one in, right? And that's kind of how you sustainably grow width, and through that you're going to grow depth as well, right? So another reason why we can kind of hang on to like the 1 or 2 is if we feel personally responsible for their success. And I can understand this because you definitely will develop a bond in a relationship with your downlines, right? So it can be kind of a trap to feel personally responsible for their success. But their success and their financial freedom is their responsibility, right? Just like your financial freedom and your success is your responsibility. So you got to drive width, and you got to hedge your bets against that, right? Another thing about developing width is that it allows you to operate from a strong position, okay? So say I've got 12 legs, they have to produce for my time. right? I'm not going to spend time with someone who's not really committed, they're not really doing the right things. Why would I give them my time when I've got 12 legs that I'm trying to work on at the same time? Like I'm just not going to invest that much into them. So people have to produce for your time, and they respect when you give them your time because they know that how valuable your time is. They know that you've got 12 legs. They're just like, oh, thank you for spending time with us. And it makes your lessons and everything you say, it makes them far more receptive to it, and it makes it have greater impact and greater value, right? Another thing about having like too many legs to work is that it forces you to be effective. It forces you to be effective and efficient with everything you do, okay? So it pretty much makes you prioritize things in a different way and at a higher rate to be more effective, right? So you're going to be far more to the point. You're still going to want to build rapport, obviously, but you're basically just going to get stuff done, all right? Whereas you might not get that same amount of stuff done if you've only got 3 legs as opposed to 12, because you basically have nothing else to do if you're building 3 legs. You've got to spend every night with one of those 3 legs. But when you're with 12, you've got a sense of urgency, so you need to be more effective. You need to be more efficient, right? So I'm obviously emphasizing width, right? But I'm not saying that you guys should sacrifice depth either, right? So you need to build both, and that will cause you to be like 10 times more profitable, right? Because width is important, but width is important for developing depth because of that time duplication process, right? So you need to get both going. And I mentioned it a bit before, but I'm going to go into greater depth. You always want to build in 3s, right? This is basically because you're keeping 2 on the burner. I mentioned that, but I didn't really mention how you keep them on the burner, because you can never keep a lead hot, right? It's the same with like girls and stuff. Like if you get the number, you have to keep talking. You have to like try and like get something going quickly, or they'll forget about you, because we all have short attention spans in today's society, right? So the way that you keep that lead hot, the way that you keep those 2 that you're not developing around for them to become the most committed and then to get your attention, is to instill the belief that they can make it, right? So you instill the belief that they can make it by building a relationship with you, like a personal relationship, like that mentor, protege, leader, follower relationship, and you put numbers in their organization. So basically you befriend them in a respect, like they still respect you, but you're kind of like their friend and their mentor, and they want to follow you, and you make them profitable by putting people in their organization. This ensures that they know that it's real, right? And they're not going to quit because they like you. They want to spend more time around you. They know that you're going somewhere, and it's only a matter of time until they incubate enough to the point where they're just more and more committed, right? And yeah, basically that's what's going to happen. They're just going to incubate, and they're going to hang around you and associate until they're more committed. And yeah, then it'll become their time because they'll be the most committed, and they'll develop and they'll go direct, right? So just some last things to focus on is just take it into your own hands, right? It's your business, it's your success. You've got to take responsibility for your own organization, okay? You can't expect your upline to do everything for you. If they do stuff for you, that's great. That's extra credit. That's not expected though. It's up to you, okay? So your upline won't make you rich, okay? That's up to you to listen to them, to hear their lessons, and to apply it, right? So you're responsible for your own organization. Thanks, guys.